Going to be showing off Didactyl, which is a VR content creation platform for educators geared towards students that have ADHD. So let's go ahead and sign up for free right here. So let's go through the process for teachers. So as a teacher, first I got to sign up to be a content creator. So I'll just enter in my information. And boom, we're in the My Lessons page, which basically allows teachers to create new lessons. So if we click into that, we can see this UI here that actually gives us a VR playground to work with and a list of items to build their experience with. So the idea here is that we provide teachers with a bunch of ready-made 3D models and other kinds of things, objects, that kind of stuff, and they can just click them and it will appear once I refresh. Oh. There we go. So once I've refreshed this page, it should render a new cube. And there it is. So essentially what that allows me to do now is I can click it and I can move it around. And you also notice that when I hover over it, a custom text overlay shows up there. And so yeah, essentially what we have here is a lesson scene that's fully interactive in VR, and we provide building blocks, no code required, that has an easy-to-use drag-and-drop interface so that teachers can basically just create these things sort of like in SimCity or games like that, where you kind of have this interface. So that's one of the features. The other feature is that teachers can utilize is the idea of challenges. So before we were looking at just a single VR lesson scene. What challenges allow for is to string them together. So for example, here we have a challenge, a sample challenge, and each one is a different scene. First we have a tutorial, and then we have a set of different challenges. And for each one of them, we actually have this thing called a door code. And what that allows teachers to do is they can actually trigger progression to other scenes through some interaction happening. So for example, let's say that a teacher has a challenge for solving a square root problem for like a math lesson. So what they can do is they can create this door code that basically says, they can create a door code and then they can say, solve this puzzle to see the door code. And once that door code shows up, the student can then progress to the next scene. So if we go to the challenge, you can see that it's the exact same UI for editing scenes that we had before. You can see the cube there again. And yeah, that's basically challenges. So in addition to that, you can also go ahead and demo once you're done creating your scenes. And that'll take you right into a WebVR UI where you can see the cube that you made. And then also, you can view this directly with your Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, Samsung Gear VR device. And actually, there's also a Google Cardboard support, so you can actually put this into your mobile phone, and it will render that stereoscopic view so that you can get this in your phone. So yeah, that's how that works. So let's go back to the website and see what the process is like for students. So for students, when they sign in, they get this list of classes that they can just click play and boom, it'll take them right into a VR demo, and they can plug this into their Oculus Rift headsets or their Google Cardboards. And so the idea there is that it's really quick and easy, and they have a list of all of the classes that was provided by all the educators. They also have a sidebar with a bunch of different options. One of the features that we were trying to implement was the idea of classrooms. So when a student wants to join sort of a private classroom to see videos for like a class that they're taking at school, they can just go ahead and get a classroom code from the teacher. I'll just go math class, and then boom, they can see this private list of videos, or not videos, sorry, VR interactive demos that the teachers created. So if they just click play there, again, very easy. They can just go straight into VR and they can see the demo. So that's kind of the process for creating new content and also for students to access and experience that content. And yeah, some things that we were kind of excited about for the future is the idea of WebVR, and we're really hopeful for the future of WebVR and its implications for making these experiences accessible to everyone, be they students in underprivileged communities or teachers in elite institutions. We're also excited about WebVR's potential for easy VR content creation. One of the things that we were really trying to emphasize with this application was the creation of new VR content. And since WebVR is built on web technologies, a lot of the existing veteran web developers can transition into creating content for VR applications like ours. So the other thing that we're excited about implementing in the future is the ability to track student behavior through VR worlds in real time and running analytics to measure student learning performance. So for example, a teacher, once they create that VR experience, that lesson scene, they can actually analyze student behavior within that lesson scene and track their performance and see how long it takes them to do those interactions, how long it takes them to sort of figure out the ropes of whatever lesson they're trying to teach. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for listening.